In West Asia, a major realignment is underway. Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman will be visiting Turkey next week. His first visit since 2018. We all know what happened that year. Saudi hitmen assassinated journalist Jamal Khashoggi in Turkey. That set off a political crisis. President Erdogan blamed MBS for the killing. He said it was ordered by, quote-unquote, the highest levels of the Saudi government. 4 years later, his tone has changed. This is President Erdogan announcing the visit by MBS.
We will meet with him in our presidential complex in Ankara, and we are going to conduct bilateral meetings with him and his delegation, and we will find a chance to discuss how to improve Turkish and Saudi Arabian relations to a higher level in the upcoming future.
You heard him. No accusations, only cooperation. What explains this climb down by Erdogan? His failing economy. Erdogan violated the unsaid rule of the Islamic world. He challenged the leadership of Saudi Arabia, and punishment was swift. Saudi Arabia imposed an informal trade embargo on Turkish goods. In 2021, their exports to the kingdom dropped 92%. Erdogan had no choice but to bury his rivalry. First, he abandoned the Khashoggi case. The murder trial in Istanbul was transferred to Saudi Arabia. Then he traveled to Jeddah. He met Crown Prince MBS and talked about resetting ties. From the looks of it, it worked. Turkey's exports to Saudi Arabia increased 25% in the first quarter of 2022. And now MBS is flying down to Ankara. Both sides know exactly what they want. Turkey wants money, they want investment deals, currency swap agreements, anything to keep their economy afloat. Saudi Arabia, on the other hand, needs assurances, indications that Erdogan has dropped his Islamic ambitions, that Turkey is finally falling in line, and if possible, a few Turkish drones too. They're doing wonders in the Ukraine war. MBS will be hoping to acquire them for Yemen. So that's what both leaders are looking for, the substance. What about the symbolism? For MBS, it is his return on the global stage. Since the Khashoggi murder, the Crown Prince has rarely traveled. He visited Japan for the G20 in 2019, but that's it. Western heads of state wanted to distance themselves from Mohammed bin Salman. That's not the case anymore. In December last year, French President Emmanuel Macron met him. Next month, Joe Biden will do the same. So MBS is not a political kryptonite anymore. He's back at the high table of diplomacy. What about Erdogan? Well, he too is back at the high table, but not the way he imagined it. Erdogan has been forced to surrender his big dreams. He has reached out to all his so-called rivals, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, even Israel. In simple words, Erdogan has been cut to size. And where does that leave West Asia? In the middle of a realignment. Since the First World War, this region has been controlled by world powers, first by Europe, then by the United States. But now that alignment is slowly changing, especially with the war in Ukraine. None of the West Asian countries are supporting the US. Not Saudi Arabia, not the UAE, not even Turkey, which is a NATO member, by the way. All of them are pursuing their own interests. And I'll give you examples. Saudi Arabia initially refused to increase oil output. They put profits over the US. At one point, MBS was not answering Joe Biden's phone. Turkey is talking about a military operation in Syria. Both Russia and America have warned against it, but Erdogan doesn't care. Then you have Israel. They are practicing to strike Iranian nuclear targets, and that too in the middle of negotiations to revive the nuclear deal. Do you see the trend here? West Asia is charting its own course. They understand how unreliable the United States is. So they're looking out for themselves. Saudi Arabia is making ballistic missiles with China. The UAE is building military bases with them, which means West Asia is looking for options, ways to solve their own problems. This visit by MBS is part of that same trend. Saudi Arabia and Turkey share multiple concerns: Syria, Lebanon, Iran, Libya. Until now, the US was also a stakeholder in these conflicts. But pretty soon, that may not be the case. A very interesting story to follow. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.